and welcome to the Happiness Coach podcast. My name is Lori Brandt, and I am the Happiness Coach. I believe that our natural state is peace, calm, and happiness. And the only thing keeping us from living life from that centered space are our limiting beliefs. I believe that limiting beliefs can be eliminated. Once revealed and questioned, they begin to lose hold so that our natural state of greatness can rise up and into our present day experience. On this podcast, you'll listen in on real life coaching calls, interviews with leading experts, and open discussions exploring limiting beliefs and their transformation. If after listening to the podcast you found it interesting or helpful, I would love it if you could follow and share. If it inspires you to consider becoming a life coach yourself, visit my website for upcoming ICF Life Coach certification training dates at www.loribrant.com. All right, I think it's time to jump in and get started. Welcome. I'm really happy to have you here today, Mike.
Well, thank you very much. I just have a problem with the way that little nuisance things, I let them bother me, and I darn well shouldn't be doing that, because when it comes off, and then it starts affecting everybody, including Penny and myself.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you're wanting to not react.
Yeah, and the thing is that I have a thing on my computer that was there by Morgan Freeman. And the last part of the thing says, I want to get to the point where my moods do not shift based on insignificant actions by somebody else. It's like somebody will tell me about their friggin' natural gas at the back of these new houses, and I'm thinking, I'm getting the royal put to me. and then I come in, and then I start a growl session, and that is just not me. I shouldn't be doing that. And that's one of my biggest problems. And I'm quite happy being at home, looking after the house. I like the cooking, I like the cleaning, and socially, I will get out there eventually and start meeting people. I have an interest in the Canadian Legion here in Aurelia, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my time. I'm going to go and feel it out and see how the acceptance is there.
Okay, so I'm hearing two parts then. I'm hearing one is that you're looking to not react to outside circumstances.
Yes.
And so that it doesn't affect your mood. But I'm also hearing a second one, and that one is to be more social. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and like I'm not out there socially involved with people. It's and I've already I phoned a place this morning about work, and it's just not for me. And I could explain that, but it just wasn't. And I said, no, thank you.
Okay, so if you were to consider those two goals, which one do you feel is like your highest priority right now that we could work on today?
I think it's that one that I need to think about, the reaction time and
Okay.
the actions that I'm taking, because the social will come.
All right. All right. So let's just take a look at what it would be like to not react. So can you think of a recent instance, maybe this gas one, where you didn't respond the way you wanted? Do you have one?
Yeah, right off the bat, and I'll tell you what it is. When Penny wakes up in the morning, and she just wants to sit and have her coffee. She wants to do her thing, whatever she's doing on her little diddly box there. And I interrupt, and I don't even think about what she's doing. I just my mouth in gear, and that's not this is where it gets me into a lot of problem.
Okay, so let's imagine that's that same situation. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I want to know how you want to be. So your wife wakes up, and how do you want to be in that same situation?
I want to be calm and polite and let her get her coffee in, not interrupt her thoughts, and just in general, just be considerate of the other person and not be thinking about doing this because I think I have to.
Okay, so let's I just want you to consider going into that mental dialogue that you want to be having. So what would be going on within you in that moment, you being calm and polite and not interrupting?
I guess it's because we haven't got our uh, deck built and the gas connection is not available out there. Well, it is out there, but it's not hooked up. And it's just something silly that gets into my head that why am I the last one? And I'm not the last one. It will get done when it's supposed to get done, and that's it in a nutshell. And
Okay, so I'm trying to understand what it is that you're wanting to have happen within you that isn't happening now. So what I heard, what you don't want is that you don't want to be processing these thoughts about what should be happening that isn't happening. Is that what I'm hearing?
basically, yes. And I need to be more realistic as to what our plans are and the happiness that can come from it for both myself and Penny.
Okay, so if you were not processing those thoughts in that moment, so you wake up, she's got a coffee, and you're not processing those thoughts, what would that be like for you?
Just a quiet time, and that's fine by me because I'll sit on my computer and I will look at my. I'll do the same thing that she's doing, and hope, and then when it comes time to sit and have breakfast, we can sit and smile across the table at one another.
Okay, so have you ever experienced a time when you had that experience where you weren't processing? And
Yeah, yes,
okay, so tell me about that. Tell me how that feels.
it feels really great. It really does, and then and once I do it and I cause like I get into that negative whatever thought process, uh, I run downhill, and then and I'm not quick to apologize, and I just it
Okay,
it
that's
just
okay.
eats
Yeah.
us. It eats me up, and it eats Penny up.
Okay. So I
And
want you to just draw yourself back to that really great feeling that you were talking about. And I
hmm
want you to kind of like move into it a little bit more. And do you have a specific instance that you're thinking of that when you think, oh, it was really great?
yeah, I think when we got together, I talked more to her about everyday things, and we were happier. I don't want to add any stress into her life. We've got plans with our family. I want that to be totally terrific, and we don't get a lot of visitors here, uh, and sometimes I wonder why. But it's we have certain friends that we go and visit. Every time we go to them, we have a great time.
Okay. So I want you to go back into one particular instant that you can recall when you were not processing negative thoughts. If you can find one, can you find one?
Yeah, I can. And I'll
Okay.
tell you when it was. It was about 20, not 20 years ago, but the most important one was a message that I got, and I decided to leave Nova Scotia and get back home and meet my Penny and meet for a get together. And it was spectacular. I drove nonstop all the way just to sit and talk to her.
Okay. So I want you to go into one particular instant. Whether it was that talk that you were having or, it could be like just a moment. And I want you to kind of allow yourself to move into that. Are you able to do that? Like just really bring yourself back to that moment?
Well, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I know exactly how I felt.
Okay. So I want you to just kind of give a voice to that inner joy you were feeling in that because I believe you were feeling calm.
Yes, and
Okay.
I just
So
want
yeah, let's hear about more about how that resonated with you.
well, it was perfect.
And when you say perfect, what do you mean? Like, how did
I,
you know it was perfect
because
inside you? Not what was happening outside of you, but inside you.
inside me,
Hmm.
because I had that was the most important thing in my life right then and there. It was that important to me, and I didn't want anything else. It,
And how did you
and
know
that
that it was the most important thing in that moment? Like,
because
what was happening within you to
well,
indicate that?
I guess I realized that perhaps I was falling in love with this lady, and that is, and I still am. But it's just this particular time and right now. But back then, we didn't go through this crap that I've been letting my head drift off into.
Okay, so what I heard is you were in that moment and that what was happening was the most important thing in your life. So it's like when you say that, I kind of have the vision of you zeroing in on just what was being said or what was happening. Would that be true?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And it's almost like it was to the exclusion of everything else. Does that make sense?
Everything else was gone out of it. It was a perfect situation,
Okay.
and
And
that's what I want to get back to.
perfect. Okay. And then when you're zeroing in on what's happening, can you just kind of maybe give a voice to what was happening in your mind with respect to thoughts in that moment? Or there might not be any too. Like I'm
Oh
just,
no, I was just so happy to be there.
and when you're just happy to be there, how did that show up in your body? Like, did you feel it anywhere or?
Not really. It's just it, I, I don't know how to answer those questions about my body because I'm not having any problem with my body.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem with your body. But would it be true that when you are experiencing negative thoughts and getting angry or frustrated, that has a reaction in your body? Like sometimes people feel tense or they feel uncomfortable or
I
they're
feel uncomfortable.
okay.
Feel
So the
uncomfortable.
same thing is true for when we are calm and we are zeroing in and being very present. There's also a reaction in the body. And I'm just wanting to maybe potentially explore what that might be for you because I think that we're all a little bit different. So how does calm show up for you, and how does zeroing in on what's happening and being happy, how does that feel in your body?
That's hard for me to explain because I just don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. It, it, I feel good. That's the only way I can express that. I feel good about what's with me at that time.
Okay. I'm just going to throw out some words, and I don't want you to just. If they feel like they resonate with you, then just let me know. Like, so would you say good feels light? Would you feel good, um, free, open?
Open.
Okay, and Like the breath would be slower. Um, my shoulders kind of fall. There'd be like a bit of a smile.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
and my eyes, you know how they wouldn't be like tense, they would be like relaxed and my cheek,
Happy looking eyes.
yeah, yeah, and my jaw too when I'm
Yeah, I don't. Yes, and when I get tense, my whole entire exposure on my face probably shows it.
okay. So that this is really good, Mike, because what you're doing is you're bringing awareness to the difference in your body, which I think is really, really valuable here. So when you're okay, so we know what happens when you're tense, but we just really want to get clear on what it is that we're working towards. So if you're not tense, maybe how does your jaw feel when you're being open and happy? Mine drops.
Uh, I don't think so. I don't think my jaw feels anything. I don't know.
Okay,
I
so compared to when you are tense and angry, what is the difference when you're not that? Like, so,
relaxation.
okay, good,
The,
good,
the face is relaxed, I guess.
good. And so, how does your face relax? I know I'm really a stickler with this, but we have to really know what our benchmarks are so that we know that we're actually reaching what it is that we're wanting.
Well, I guess I get. I must be. If I'm not smiling on the outside, I'm smiling on the inside.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So, what would it be like for you if you were able on a regular basis to maintain a calm demeanor, regardless of what was going on outside you?
100%. I wish it was. And I think I can do it. I really believe that I can do it. But I just have to concentrate and make my mind open before I open my verbal barrage of whatever flies out.
Okay. And what kind of impact do you think it would have on your relationship if you were able to do that on a regular basis?
I think it would make everybody happy. It would make me a happy camper.
Hmm. And how might your life change if you were doing that on a regular basis?
Well, I think we've reached a point in our lives where we could probably travel and do some things. And we do a lot of traveling, and maybe we should do more. And but we also like to visit our friends. Uh, we try to visit with the two our kids, but we never seem to be able to get them because they're spread around, which is a normal portion of life, I believe.
Okay. So let's take a look at what happened. So one of the examples that you mentioned earlier was that I wake up and Penny's having her coffee and you feel the need to express. So I want to bring you back to you're still in bed and you've just opened your eyes. So tell me what happens. When do the thoughts start happening?
In that particular case, I just know that I should not have, like in the particular case where I have upset my dear Penny, I will wake up and I will probably chastise myself. But
Okay,
yeah,
so I just want to get clear that I'm on the same page as you. So this particular example that we're talking about, you guys had a previous disagreement.
well, the night before. I'm
Okay,
talking
okay.
about the last one.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's so I know. Okay, so the night before there was disagreement. So you wake up, and so tell me what kind of thoughts were coming up for you.
Well, it's just that I'm blaming myself. And that is, and I really believe that to be rightfully so. But I also should come out and, instead of just blurting something out, say to her, and we have talked about this, Penny, can I just have your attention for a moment? And if it takes an apology, that's what should be done right then and there, because probably the night before I didn't make any apologies. I just went away to whatever part of the world my brain can was in.
Okay, so I'm just gonna invite you to let me in to hear that, what's happening. So you wake up in the morning and you're blaming yourself, like with what kind of thoughts? Do you recall?
My God, is this really going to be the way it is?
Okay,
You
and
know,
what else?
and how do I change this? And then and then we talk, and
Okay, I know that I want to hear the whole thing, but I really want to really move in and hear and know every bit about what it's like to be you from the time that you woke up that morning. So you open your eyes, and I hear you saying, you're feeling something or you're thinking something, and let's just give a voice to that.
guilt
Okay, and what's the thought associated with the guilt?
for being, I guess, being rude to Penny.
Okay, so I am rude. Okay, and what other thoughts were coming up?
I love this girl, and why am I doing this to her?
Okay, anything else?
I don't know how much more I can say, other than the fact that it is really difficult for me to put it into words. I'm just, it doesn't make me the happy camper that I know that I should be, because we, I and she, we have the world by the tail.
Okay. So you're feeling, these thoughts are processing, and so you get up, and then how long after will you be moving in to chat with Penny?
Sometime, probably, but I don't do it in a proper manner. I don't. Sometimes I still come out in the morning, and I'll start talking, and I have a terrible habit of talking while I'm typing and stuff like that, and it puts her off because she's doing what she's doing. She may be typing a letter to somebody. I don't know, but I shouldn't be talking out loud, and I shouldn't be interrupting her train of thought. And
Okay, so
that's enough
this
to upset anybody.
yeah, okay. So you're in your bedroom and you're processing this guilt from the night before. Can you give me a timeline between when you would come out and speak directly to Penny about that?
Depending on the shift that she's on, it could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or it could be 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so if she's having her coffee, I'm assuming that was a morning.
Yes,
So how long after from the time you woke up did you engage Penny?
2.5 hours.
Okay. And then if she was working shift work or on a different shift and it was later, let's say, would you be processing those guilt feelings from the time you get up till the time she comes, or do they just come in and out? Or can you tell me about that?
No, I hang right onto them. I,
Uh,
I, I really do. I know that I was wrong, and I have to make it right.
Okay, and so you're processing how you're going to make it right. Is it a
Hopefully, yes.
combination of that and then also chastising yourself, like you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And then so by the time she comes home, what happens then? So she walks to the door and then
No, no. She walks through the door. I don't see her when she comes through the door, because when she's on midnights, I'm asleep when she comes in, and when she's on afternoons, I'm in bed asleep.
okay, so then it waits till the next day?
Yes, that's is what I guess this is the crutch of it right there.
Okay.
It's like the next day. Her night shift is from 12 until 6 a.m. Her afternoon shift is from 3 till midnight. So she gets home about quarter after 12. By that time, I'm in La La Land. I've gone to sleep.
Okay. So if you this disagreement that happened the night before, is that something that was a result of this experience where you're holding on to these thoughts and you're waiting for her to come home so that you can express yourself and then it becomes a disagreement and then you go to bed? Is that how it goes?
No, no. The day that disagreement took place was the day that I was outside talking to my neighbor, and I saw his gas connection, and I was wondering about mine, and ta-da-la-da-da-da. And then I come in, and I know what I was told that it would be connected, and I should just say, it's not important. It will get done when it gets done. But no, I had to bite into it, and then I had to put it right on the plate right then and there to Penny, who was busy doing something. And no wonder I would get upset with me.
Okay, and so that disagreement, and then it did it expand into the evening, and then you went to bed, or
It,
how?
it didn't expand. It was done. And she went off to work that
Okay,
afternoon
okay,
at,
okay, got
at
it.
before 3 o'clock.
Okay,
Then
so
I don't see her again until the next morning. And then you, you know that you have to, it
yeah, no, I think I got a good picture now. So it's like, um,
it's
you
like a
have
delay.
this reaction, and then you don't have the opportunity to bring closure to it. And so you're processing, and then the next time you see her, it's been a result of a whole days or hours of processing of,
Yes.
yes, okay, all right, good. That's really great. You did a great job at really kind of helping me understand that. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm curious, Mike. So tell me, has there ever been a time when you didn't let little things bother you?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me about when that was?
In my younger days, I guess, or whether it goes back to it, it just, you went with the flow of things. Honestly,
Okay, so can you think of a time when that stopped or when that was challenged?
yeah, yeah, I can. I've had it challenged. I've had people say things, and I've taken them to task on it.
Okay,
Same way as Penny would take me to task on something that I'm saying.
okay, but I want to bring you back to like, okay, so you were moving in the flow in your teenage years, and then can you think of an instance that no longer worked for you?
In my teenage years, no. I was
Okay.
I got along with everybody when I was a kid.
Okay. And when was the earliest instance that you can recall when that changed?
I I guess when I moved to Ontario, I was up here at 19 years old and working for Bell Canada, and I had friends, close friends at Bell Canada, and things. I got involved with my ex, and things. It should have never ever had happened. I don't. I mean, we had two kids together. We had the two boys, and but when we split, I held on to a lot of dislike for what happened.
Okay. And so in what part, like, can you zero in if at all possible, about when did the flow change?
It changed when my two boys were out on their own, and when it changed when things got involved with cheating.
And
Was it me? No.
okay, so when she cheated on you,
Yes.
um, what what did what did that say about you?
I don't know. It just says that maybe I didn't pay enough attention or something. Maybe I was feeling guilty about being not as bright or not seeing it or not seeing something, because I went into I got to a point where I was taking things out on myself about her and bad mouthing her.
Okay, I want you to give
I,
if you're open to it, can we just give a voice to that? What you were thinking and feeling about yourself in that moment where the flow shifted, when you were in the flow and then this cheating happened. And it sounds like that was a pivotal time. So I just want to what were the thoughts you were thinking about you then?
ah, I don't know how to explain that one. I really don't. It just, I guess I felt that maybe whatever I had done, I didn't do it well enough. And then in relationship. So it, but I wasn't about to forgive anything like that. And it made me a non-forgiving person.
Okay, and any other thoughts? So I didn't do it good enough.
I used to get questioned by my boys why it was. Well, I wasn't me that was out there cheating. It was your mother. And then they would say, well, but we don't want to hear that. Well, then don't ask the question. I'm a very straightforward person when it comes to answering things.
Okay, so the boys were blaming you. And what other thoughts did you have you know, uh, so you find out she cheated and
Just get this over with. Get divorced or do whatever I have to do and everything else. But it just was not a pleasant time in my life.
no.
I was not happy. But and then I went back to work and you start listening to your so-called friends. Okay.
Mhm.
And it was, well, don't worry about it. We'll just go have a drink. Well, you can't just go have a drink. Drinks, you still got to wake up in the morning, and you haven't changed a damn thing when you start that. And I learned that the hard way.
Okay, so I'm curious, can we go back? I heard you say that I became a non-forgiving person. And so when
I wouldn't forget. I would never forgive her. Never, ever, ever, ever.
okay,
But
and
I also need to say that it was time. I have let it go. I just don't have her in my life anymore. I don't need it.
and
This
if
thing
you
just flashed and said, leave meeting.
if you forgave her, like let's just I just we're just going to hypothetically speaking, if you forgave her, what would that mean?
Well, I don't, she did what she did, and there's nothing I could do about it. And just go away and don't involve me in the life that I don't want. I don't want. The thing that sometimes happens is I have one son who likes to talk about her husband now. I don't want to hear about him. I don't care about him and I don't care about her. They're out of my life. I don't want anything to do with them.
So what I'm observing is that I'm hearing on one hand, I'm a non-forgiving person, and I'm, just want it over with, just want it out of my life. And I'm hearing now, your sons are wanting to talk about it, and
well, this was back then.
Yeah.
They don't do so much of it. Well, they have done it, but then I just take them to task on it and say, I don't want to talk about this. This is long gone out of my life. I have a new life now that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
Just keep that to yourselves. Whatever you're doing, do it, but don't involve me.
But I think what I'm trying to maybe explore is that even though she's not in your life, the unforgiveness is still there, and it's still operating, and it's still potentially creating this state of agitation where you're living from now. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
No, I have stopped that. I have stopped that. Penny and I talked, and she is my rock. And I'm telling you, she is as true as God is my witness. She's like an analytical person.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, so what I'm trying to get at is that sometimes in my experience, when we have a tumultuous experience, we have a very limited perception of what happened, and we create strategies sometimes to deal with the pain. And in the moment, we do the best that we can because that's what we know. And but unbeknownst to us is that sometimes these strategies no longer serve us, but we continue to implement them and use them moving forward. And what happens, unbeknownst to us, is that when we're having a present day experience, could be like a week, but it could be like 20, 30, 40 years later. The experience in present day triggers something from a past experience, and we start implementing the strategy, even though the strategy so doesn't work right now. And it's not what we're wanting to do, but it's like we've been doing it for so long, it becomes a habit. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. It does. But I didn't feel that that's what it would be. But you've been involved with this business for a long time, and you're starting to make me think that possibly that is the way it pops back up.
Yeah.
And then I become very defensive.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why I'm kind of like really trying to pick apart this non-forgiving Mike that existed way back then, because I think that this is the key. And if we can kind of like just open that up a little bit and explore it, then I think it could have a profound impact moving forward. Okay. So I can totally get, like, I don't really want to go there. I'm done with that. It's so long ago. And, but if you're open to it, it could be the key to the freedom that you're wanting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's just open up that box a little bit. And I want to bring like a magnifying glass in a little bit. And I want to really tap into that Mike. Okay. So I don't believe that unforgiving Mike that you mentioned, that's not who you are.
You're absolutely right.
It's just, I know. And it's just an experience you had. And so what I want to zero in on is that experience of what it was like to be you back then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you found out that she cheated. So if you could just tell me a little bit more about that.
I just know what happened.
How did you know?
Because she was living with the guy out there, although it wasn't said that she was, but the boys, I guess, must have let me know. It's the only way I would know.
And how was that for you to find out like that?
Hurt. It was not a pleasant conversation. And then it went downhill.
So tell me about the not a pleasant conversation.
Well, they talked about him like he was some kind of a little hero.
And how did that make you feel?
Lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut.
Okay. I'm just making a note here.
Yes, it didn't help my constitution one bit about my self-being.
And anything else? You were hurt. They were talking about him like he was so great, and you were feeling, really low. Anything else?
No, other than that, it just was not good. And I don't know. I didn't take it out on them.
Okay, so what did happen then? You didn't take it out on them,
I drank too damn much.
Okay, and
to be honest with you, I was drinking a lot.
Okay.
And that was because of the type of people that I work with.
Okay, so I want to bring you back. So the boys tell you, and there was a pre-conversation experience as Mike, and there was a post-conversation from the boys, Mike. Yeah. So tell me what changed between the Mike before the experience of that conversation with the boys and after.
Well, because sometimes the boys used to use me as a whipping post too. And for a while there, I would let them do it. And then finally I had to stand on my hind legs and said, if you're going to talk to me this way, don't bother calling me. Don't talk to me. Just stay out of my life. And that kind of eased them back into a reality that he's not going to take any more of this crap that we're using.
So it appears that in a place of hurt or not being appreciated or not being loved, that your strategy was to bark back, cut them down, and shut them out.
Yes, because I don't believe it's right that I should have to let people talk to me that way. People aren't. One used to swear and curse and scream at me, using every word that he could possibly use, and the other one just talked about how great the other person was, not what I ever did or how good I was that is the truth of the boys. And now I hardly ever see them, and I can't justify why do they not come and visit? Why do they not call us and say, come and visit us? We go every once in a while, we would go to visit the boy in Calgary. And now last time I was there, all he did was talk about Henry. Well, bullshit on Henry. I'm here to visit you. I'm here because I love you and my two grandkids and your missus, not to hear about my past life and what happened. And the other boy, he cursed me out several times because when I had a problem when I lived in Georgetown. And I told him, you're going to talk to me like that. Don't call me. And he didn't for a long time, but finally he did. And he apologized, and it made me feel better. But that was as far as it. And now we just don't see them. They are a busy couple. Okay. His wife works and ta-da. So, but it does hurt because I feel that we should be closer. And that's just a feeling.
So not to disregard the relationship with your kids, but it is really telltaling of the original experience. So I just want to feed back what I'm observing. Okay, you are with this woman, your ex, and you find out that she's had an affair, and you feel hurt and unloved, and you get into this place of, I'm not going to forgive her. And in that place, when you're not going to forgive her, it's like, just get it done. Just cut her off, and probably some barking or snapping back. And that barking back, cut her out, get the divorce done, that, I believe, potentially could be a strategy that you developed. And that strategy is just something, it's like a coping mechanism in the moment to try to handle, to try to feel better. And then this strategy, it appears, is being triggered by your sons. So when they do something that hurts you, you unconsciously, this is what we all do, is we kind of implement these automatic strategies that we have, which is to bark, snap, cut them out.
Cut them off.
Pardon?
Cut them off.
Yeah. Because not that, and it doesn't, it's not good or bad. It's irrelevant. The thing is that this strategy is repeating itself. So if at any time, potentially, you are hurt or at risk of getting hurt, it triggers this old pattern. So, and this is, it's so amazing, Mike, because we don't recognize how powerful these strategies can seep in to all aspects of our life, even to the point where somebody next door has gas connected and you don't. The idea that someone was treated better than you could be perceived as, you're hurt by that. And then being hurt triggers all this old stuff. The strategy gets implemented, and Penny is the one that gets the bark, snap, cut out.
Yes. Honest to God.
Okay. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think you're probably right. 100%. And I hate to admit that I'm that kind of a person, but that seems to be the attitude.
Okay. So
and I do not want anything like that with
okay.
Penny.
So we're just getting clear that strategy is no longer working for you. Is that what I heard?
Absolutely not. It's garbage.
Okay. So let's just say that the gas wasn't connected.
Yep.
And when do you normally actually feel that discomfort seep up? Is it right away?
Pretty much the minute I walk through back into my house.
Okay, so we're talking minutes.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take. It can be instantaneous.
Okay.
Instantaneous, and then that Morgan Freeman thing that is on my computer. It is so true. Why let something like that interfere with your intelligence?
Okay, so can you give voice maybe to now why you do?
Why I get so upset?
Yeah, based on our conversation just now.
Well, I guess it's just a reversing back to it's hurting me, so it's bothering me, so I got to get it out there. And I don't need to get it out there. I should really say to myself, this is not important. It's going to go the way it's supposed to go. Forget about it and get on with your happy life and make everybody in your life happy.
Okay. So if we give voice to actually that, so what I heard is that in that moment, you identified that I'm interpreting that this is hurting me.
Yes.
Okay.
And why and why it's not, to me. I know I know you've dealt with people like this because I can understand where you're going, but I just don't understand why I go back there and it just flares up inside me like a cancer.
Yeah, and I hear that, and it's actually quite common. I wrote about it in my book about exaggerated responses.
Yes.
And yeah, and so what happens is that
I read your book.
yeah, you're not really just reacting to your gas not being hooked up. If you could achieve your goal and be in that place of calm, what happens is that when we achieve that goal and learn how the difference between being aligned in that place of calm, we can question whatever comes up. And we can say, is this really hurting me that my gas is not connected? And in a very calm, aligned place, you can entertain alternate perceptions. And you can come up with alternate perspectives of that same situation. Like, I'm not hurting. I don't need gas. We have an electric stove. I can cook on that. And I don't require any heat in this moment because it's 30 degrees outside Celsius. And so you logically can move through and out of attaching to the hurt of, why did he get it and I didn't? Because you can entertain all perceptions, positive and just not attach to anything negative. Okay. So that's the goal. And what I'm hearing is what you're wanting.
And that's
what happens with an exaggerated response is that something happens in the present moment, something like not getting your gas and your neighbor did. And immediately it kind of reaches in and connects to all these other instances in your life when you were hurt, when you didn't get what you deserved, when you were treated poorly, you were not respected. And it just your mind goes back into the past and collects all those examples, triggers all the feelings that were associated with all those instances, and then your mind will look for whatever strategy it came up with to relieve that pain, that hurt. And so what it appears to be is that this strategy that gets ignited each time is to snap and to shut them down, cut them out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not who you are. It's literally your mind is just finding evidence of how to, basically, it thinks it's keeping you safe. It's going to protect you. It's going to, you do this strategy and you're going to feel better. You're going to get a release. And you're getting a release, all right, but it's not the release you want. You're wanting to feel good and happy, but the strategy, the outdated strategy that you're using isn't working for you because it's not creating that joy. It's not creating that happiness. It's not creating that place of calm and peace in your life. And so it's not that you're doing anything wrong. You're just doing what you've always done. And so what potentially can be beneficial is to open yourself up to doing things differently. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So in order to do something differently, we have to try to interrupt that strategy. We have to interrupt that automatic pilot, that automatic response. And you did it today. You did the first thing because you brought awareness to the strategy and why it gets triggered. And that can be so incredibly powerful in and of itself. Because now when you get that reaction, and maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time, but maybe the third time, you'd be like, wait a minute, am I really hurt? Am I really being attacked here? And it can just bring that little space, that little moment of being able to open up your perception, disrupt that strategy or that automatic response so that you can squeeze in something different. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mike. So this is it. So now I want to explore with you potentially how we can do that. I heard you say earlier that sometimes my automatic, disgruntlement happens instantaneously. And when I was talking earlier about your body and what happens, because our body is so amazing at letting us know when we're getting triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Because it goes into a state. And so what I want to do is I want to bring awareness to the state so that when you start sensing that in your body, that's your new trigger to say, don't react. I need to do something different here. And we're going to talk about what that is. But so let's give voice to, how would you know that you're starting to get triggered? How does it show up in your body?
I guess I'm gonna talk to somebody. I'm gonna get this hooked up. I've got to get it done. I got to get it done now, and it's exciting. It's not exciting for me, but it excites me inside.
Yes. Okay. So it's like an excitement, it's not a happy excitement.
No, I'm gonna go get this. I don't give a damn.
Okay. So let's and you're doing a great job, but I'm going to invite you to kind of maybe even close your eyes, and I want you to go into that experience. And where do you feel that in your body? And again, it could be like, I love the way that you said that anxiety, like that anger, excitement kind of thing. So how does it show up physically? Does your heart race? Does your,
No, I don't think so. I don't know the feeling that I get in my body. I don't think my body changes that much.
Okay.
It's just something that happens within my brain or something. I don't know. I honestly, Lori, I don't shake. I don't shiver. I don't get a racing heart. I don't get any of that.
How does that anxious excitement come up? Is there a furrowed brow? Because you said, I think people would know that I'm triggered. How do they know that?
I guess they don't see anything happy about my face.
Okay, so what does a non-happy face look like?
I guess
for you, not for anyone else, but for you.
For me, I guess maybe my mouth drops, maybe my eyes get different. I don't know, and there's no, like, I'm looking at your face right now, and I can see a partial smile on your face, but when I get like that, I doubt very much if I look like I'm smiling in any way.
I imagine what it would be like for me if I got angry and I get triggered. I could feel it. Now, I want to know what it's like for you, but I just want to give you some ideas of what I'm talking about here. I get like a tense back neck. I feel almost the strain go down my neck and into my shoulders when I get triggered, like an angry thing.
You're right. And okay. And now that you mention that, I can tell you that I get stress across my shoulders and the back of my neck. And I get so my head just doesn't want to be up there. It feels strain.
Yeah, good. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, Mike. So this actually is your body letting you know you're getting triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's keep going here. So the other thing I notice when I get triggered is that there is a tenseness in the middle of my forehead, like in my forehead area of my mind. I can feel it physically. It gets heavy there.
I don't know if I get like that, but I think if I was to I get very intense from my eyes. I stare. And
okay, good.
It's almost like a glare.
Okay, good. All right. And then sometimes what I'll feel is actually my stomach drops, like, not a feel good, like on a ride, but not in an exciting way, like just kind of like I feel sick a little bit.
Yes. And that has happened to me too.
Okay. So tell me about that for you.
Sometimes I feel like I just want to go throw up.
Okay, good. Okay, this is brilliant, Mike. Giving voice to the physical reaction that you get when you get triggered is, to me, that's like the universe is hugging you. It's like letting you know, Mike, watch, observe. You're going back into an old strategy. You're going back and you're going to do things that are not going to feel good. And so when we can tune in to that neon sign that our body gives us, mm-hmm. It opens up that space I was talking about so that you can bring choice to how you respond. Because I believe that when we're reacting to these old strategies, these old limiting beliefs, we don't really have a lot of choice in how we respond because it happens so fast. And if we don't know what we're doing, we don't know how to do anything differently. But now that we have brought awareness to the strategy, and now that we are acknowledging the universe and how it's showing us how that all starts, we can begin to do something different. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I want you to imagine that potentially in the future now, you're going to get triggered. I want you to consider what you could do. One, to either bring awareness to that you're getting triggered. So, tuning into that furrowed brow, the sick throwing up feeling.
Yes.
And then consider what could you do once you acknowledge that that's happening to prevent you from automatically going to the old strategy. Is anything coming up for you?
Yeah, I think what I should do, well, like in particular, yesterday, I should have just come in and went for my walk and cleared my head.
Okay, so I heard you're going to come in, so that means leave the situation.
I was outside. I was going to
Yeah.
leave that situation out there, come in, just go and have a short walk.
Okay, have a walk. And then what can you do on the walk that's different than the processing the negative thoughts? What we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a strategy that you can implement every time you get triggered the same way.
Yes.
So for example,
no matter what triggers it.
Yes. And it's not about solving a problem. It's about keeping you in a place of calm because that's your goal.
That's my goal.
Okay. So where we are now is we are going to make a baby step forward to try to interrupt that pattern and create a new strategy. And this strategy we want to be able to implement every time you get triggered. So it could be gas, it could be Penny, it could be someone in
could be myself.
Line. Yes, it could be it. So the idea is, I heard you're going to leave the situation if you can. So it could be go to another room, it could be go inside the home, and then you're going to go for a walk. And on the walk, I say in the book too that it's really beneficial because it's like it grounds you. It changes your environment.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we have to disconnect from the automatic strategy, which is to bark, snap, and cut off.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not going to do that, what are we going to be doing instead? And so what I was saying is that considering that you should not be feeling that way, that has not worked. Because the idea is you are feeling that way. And that's okay. It's kind of like, you ever hear the expression, what you resist persists? So if you're angry and you're trying to tell yourself, don't be angry, you shouldn't be angry, you're actually resisting it, and it actually makes you more angry.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what if we did the opposite? Of telling you, instead of telling yourself, I shouldn't feel the way that I'm feeling. What if we did the complete opposite? And we entertained reasons why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. I'm feeling the way I'm feeling because it's connected to the hurt from my past. I'm feeling the way I'm feeling because I feel like I'm not being treated fairly. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling the way I'm feeling because I felt like that in the past and I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, when I just did that there, it's almost like, oh, and it's not necessarily negative. It's just like acknowledging what's coming up and where it came from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, when you think about that as part of a new strategy, what do you think about that?
I think that yes, I think that's a splendid idea.
Okay, so so if we're just trying to create a new strategy, and if you got a pen, I invite you to write this down.
Okay, I do have a pen and I do have a piece of paper right here, and I will get my little book so that I'm not writing over the wooden cracks in my desk.
Okay, so the first step is to, um, when you're aware that you're getting triggered physically, and that came up for you as, um, feeling the tenseness in your neck, the staring of the eyes, the sick throwing up feeling,
Yes.
you're going to leave the situation. So if it's with Penny, you're going to leave, and you might want to give her a heads up that this is your strategy so that she's aware that that's what you're doing. And if you're out in public, you may have to, excuse me, and leave wherever. But the idea is you need to remove yourself from whatever's triggering you. And then the next step you said is that you'd go for a walk.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're at home, you're going to go out for a walk, and then on the walk, you're going to just allow that feeling of being hurt or whatever it is, and just acknowledge it and just say, I am feeling this way because I am feeling this way.
Allow that feeling.
Yeah, just to come up and feel it. Just feel it and just allow it to be. But mentally, I'm going to invite you to acknowledge the feeling and where it originated from.
And know where it came from.
Yeah. So in this particular instance, let's say with the gas, it would be, I'm feeling hurt because my gas is not attached and his is. I was being treated. I'm just making things up here, but I'm hurt. I'm annoyed. I'm feeling disregarded. I'm feeling, and then just acknowledging what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And this feeling is related to something in my past. My reaction is a result of those past experiences and this one. So how I'm responding is exaggerated. This is not a true response for this situation. I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling frustrated. But that's a combination of all those old times when I felt that way too. My old strategy was to bark and to bite and to cut off. And so my desire right now, so do you see how I'm mind talking, but I'm mind talking intentionally? Does that help?
Well, it does, but I can't write it all down that fast.
No, but you know what? I could send you the recording. So the idea is that you're just giving voice to how you're feeling, where it's coming from, making the connection to the old strategy, and asking yourself, do I want to respond this way in this moment? Do I want to bark, snap, and cut off?
No,
Is that going to get me what I want? And how else could I respond in this moment to get what it is that I'm wanting? And then, because here what you've done is you've separated, or you're trying to separate your response from the past and the present moment. Because if you make that separation, then you're able to make just a decision on how to respond based on the facts in the moment, rather than the attachment to all the hurt in the past. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So can you feed back to me now what you have agreed to do in the next upcoming week with respect to once you get triggered, you acknowledge that you're getting triggered.
the first thing you talked about was when I'm aware of the tension and get away from the situation, leave the situation. Only if and if it's in the house, I would just say to Penny, I got to just get up and walk to the other room, gather my thoughts, and remove myself from whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, if I go out for a walk, know that what the feelings came up and allow them to be mentally know where it came from. Like if I feel like I was being unfairly treated and related to my past experience, exaggerated, combine my old benefits and talk to myself saying, how else can I get okay? Separate the past and the moment. I know that's all I got written down there, and I don't seem to be thinking it that as fast as you were talking.
That's okay. I think what matters is that
I have the idea and I know what I would like to do.
Okay, because is this something that you resonate with? It's got to be something that you feel, yes, I can totally do this.
Yes, I can.
Okay. And so are we in agreement that for the next week, you're going to intentionally put this in place anytime you feel you notice that trigger, the body reacting?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And is there anything else?
No, I think that's fine. And if it gets down to the point that I want to get that tape from you, I will get it ordered up and I will send you whatever it costs to get here.
Well, that won't be required. I'll just, I can send it along to you. And I just really want to thank you. You were incredibly brave and courageous in sharing your story and your experience. And, don't underestimate the power and the influence of you doing that for anyone who's listening, because they will see how their past might also be influencing how they're responding to the present moment or to the people in their lives. So I want to thank you for your courage and strength to be open to doing something different.
Well, I thank you, and it's always been a pleasure to chat with you.
Okay, so I just want to thank you again and have a wonderful day, Mike.
Thank you very much, and God bless, my dear.
Thank you.